Today we're talking about America's greatest feat of engineering. Quite possibly the coolest fucking thing the Air Force has to offer. A weapon that is so iconic, even my 7-month-old child knows what it sounds like. Ladies and gentlemen, the motherfucking A-10 Warthog. Now, if you don't know, the A-10 Warthog was originally designed during the Cold War in an effort to be able to combat Russian tanks, or as I like to call them, in-a-hurry tanks. Being able to take out a tank with a fucking plane isn't that big of an accomplishment. But it's the fucking tone that the A-10 does it with that makes it so goddamn American. Does it do it with missiles? No. Does it do it with bombs? No. It does it with a gun so fucking big that they don't even call the pilot a pilot. His official name is the stick operator. Because to be a pilot, you have to be flying a plane, and this isn't a plane, it's a fucking gun with wings. Ladies and gentlemen, the A-10 Warthog's gun, or as I like to call it, the Freedom Stick. Yeah, that's a fucking car. Officially known as the General Electric GAU-8. Yeah, this gun's made by General Electric, like the people that made your fucking fridge. Because that's just how American companies get down. Ladies and gentlemen, I cannot stress to you how fucking big this gun really is. That is the bullet. It is so big that in the prototype models, when they would fire the gun, it would deprive the engine of oxygen and kill the engine. So then obviously you would scrap it because this is just completely unpractical. Fuck no, this is America, we're gonna program that starter to go off right after we shoot the gun, that way the engine doesn't fucking stall out. Now ask me why the tip is blue. I'll tell you why. Because if this wasn't a big enough fuck you, they decided to make the round fucking uranium. You see, uranium's denser, therefore weighing more per square centimeter, which means it's gonna have more force on impact. You know, in case you want to take out the tank that's hiding behind another tank. Now, having a gun this big means you lose mobility. So how do you handle that? Well, that's easy. You just design it to take bullets. Well, how do you do that? You put the stick operator in a 38mm thick titanium bathtub. Hold on, I'll convert it to freedom units. Carry the 2 World War wins, add the Second Amendment. It's about 1.5 inches. You thought I was gonna start doing metric shit when I said centimeter earlier, didn't you? Nah. In conclusion, I don't know who designed this freedom-spitting masterpiece. I've got to assume it's a result of giving a grunt an engineering degree and a pile of cocaine, and it's fucking beautiful. Thank you for watching this video, I hope you enjoyed it. Today we're talking about the Apache helicopter. This video is brought to you by Moose and his helicopter, the Help Wanted. And he wanted to give a shout out to the Alpha Company Archangels out of Camp Humphrey, South Korea. Like the Chinook, it is named after a Native American tribe. It is also operated by 2 men. But that is where their similarities end. Because while the Chinook may be extremely versatile, the Apache is meant for one thing and one thing only. Disassembling bad guys. I like to call it Bob the Unbuilder, which is Bob spelled backwards. Now, why disassembling, you ask? Well, because this is the main gun sitting right underneath the cockpit. It is a 30mm chain gun. Now, I have no fucking idea what a millimeter is. We're gonna go with something a little bit more American. Now, as you can see here, a 30mm round is approximately 1 piece of uncooked bacon. And that gun is capable of shooting 650 bacon bullets per minute. That's not even the scary part. They can connect the gun directly to the gunner's helmet. So where he looks, the gun points. Meaning all the gunner has to do is look at you and push a button. And then the next thing you don't know, you're showing up to the morgue in a body bag with a little note pinned to the front of it that says some assembly required. Like you're a piece of IKEA furniture. An IKEA cadaver, if you will. And that's just the gun under the cockpit. It's also capable of carrying 8 Hellfire missiles and 38 Hydra rockets. And if you really upset them, they can use anti-personnel Hydra rockets, which are just rockets filled with 2,200 nails. How does it aim all the rockets? Oh, that little dome on top of the propeller is called the Fire Control Radar. It's capable of tracking 128 moving targets at once while actively engaging 16 of them. Meaning you could be behind it and it will still be hitting you with the Freedom fireworks. Now, having a lot of firepower is great, but how tough is it? It's basically a flying fucking tank. The cab surrounding the pilot and the gunner is armored to resist up to a 23mm round. Now, I'm not a fucking scientist, but if that's a 30mm round, then a 23mm round would be approximately 19-20 fists the size of a strip of uncooked bacon. Yeah, I don't need millimeters when I got bacon bits. Okay, so it's deadly and it's tough, but that doesn't mean shit if you can't be in the right place at the right time. It's a good thing it's equipped with 2 GE T700 turboshaft engines, giving it a top speed of 192 miles an hour, 3,800 horsepower. You have any idea how many ducks that is? According to the interwebs, 1 horsepower is equivalent to 131.2 water chickens worth of energy, giving Bob the Unbuilder nearly 500,000 quack bangs worth of speed. And if that wasn't enough unhealthcare, they also gave it the ability to remote connect to a UAV drone that was flying above, giving it the ability to see the entire battlefield and shoot more Hellfire missiles from the drone. In conclusion, the point I'm trying to get across to you is if you see Bob the Unbuilder overhead and you're a bad guy, you're about to become a giant 3D puzzle because you can't outrun it, you can't outgun it, and you can't hide from it. It is truly unhealthcare at its finest. Today we're talking about the Mark 19. I'm just gonna come out and say it, it's a machine gun that shoots grenades. Like imagine a bunch of grunts pouring a case of hand grenades into a pitching machine. Yeah, it's that. This thing is capable of shooting 40 to 60 grenades per minute up to a mile away. And that's actually just when you want to use it for direct fire like a gun. If you get bored and decide you want to take some half-court shots, you can aim it up in the air and basically use it like miniature artillery. You know, for when you want to hit the bad guy with that yeetus deletus. I'm trying to tell you it's basically a fully automatic mortar. You know, in case the enemy's hiding behind a tank or something. Because a tank is literally what you're gonna need if you plan on being safe at all. Because this thing shoots M340 dual-purpose grenades, and they are capable of penetrating up to 3 inches of armor. Should you find yourself not in a tank, the kill radius on one of these grenades is 5 meters in diameter, which is like 16.5 feet. That's like the you're definitely dead radius. If you're within like 50 feet of this thing when it goes off, you're probably gonna have a bad day. If you're inside the 16-foot kill radius, then, well, your subscription to life just got canceled. Your new pronouns are here and over there. If you're not picking up what I'm putting down, I'm telling you somebody's gonna be picking what's left of you up with a fucking snow shovel. Now, to be fair, that's definitely the worst part. But it is worth mentioning that when you're shooting grenades, there is a noticeable delay between the time that you hear the thump and the time you hear the explosion. I'm trying to tell you it's like getting unalived with a dial-up connection. Like you're gonna fuck around and take a pop shot at Doc and you're gonna hear thump, thump, thump. Like you're dead, it's just buffering. You're actually gonna have time to bend over and kiss your ass goodbye before you take your new job promotion. Because you're about to go from insurgent to fucking everywhere surgent. And that's just like a couple grenades. It can shoot 60 in a minute. Okay, and they don't just mount them on tripods. They mount them on Humvees, trucks, Strikers. They put them on everything. Like the last thing you want to do is fuck around with a convoy when the truckers have one of these mounted on top, okay? Because you're not just gonna die, you're gonna take out your general direction with you. Like if you're on the left, that's just not gonna be a thing anymore. There's no more left, it's just gone. You can't just take a left anymore, now you gotta take 3 rights. Not only did you die, now you're inconveniencing everyone. I hope you're happy. Look, this gun is just the epitome of unhealthcare in America. We invented this thing in 1966, and then 3 years later in 69, we put a man on the moon. Like that's the order of our priorities. Like yeah, we're definitely gonna make one giant leap for mankind, but it's gonna be after we figure out how to make a machine gun that shoots fucking grenades. You know, Uncle Sam just walked up in the room like, hey, listen up, nerds. I mean, NASA. Here's the deal. Some 7-year-old from Kentucky just sent me a blueprint of a machine gun that shoots grenades drawn in crayon. We're gonna need to put this whole space race thing on the back burner until we can make this gun a reality. So, just to reiterate the order of our priorities. Number 1, build a machine gun that shoots grenades. Number 2, win the space race, putting a man on the moon, subsequently bankrupting the Soviet Union. And then for the final death blow, we're gonna beat their undefeated hockey team at Lake Placid in 1980. Any questions? No? Good. Okay, ready? Break. Today we're talking about the Miclick. No, that is not what Ronald does to Mrs. McDonald. Whole 5 seconds to get demonetized on this video. It's gonna be a good day. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a Miclick. It is a rocket-propelled rope that is approximately 350 feet long and impregnated with 1,750 pounds of angry Play-Doh, aka C4, aka Uncle Sam's serious putty. Now, believe it or not, this is technically not a weapon. Miclick is the abbreviation that stands for Mine Clearing Line Charge. At least that's what we're gonna tell Geneva. So what's supposed to happen is that rocket takes off and it tows that immensely heavy rope through the air. Buh! Does that mean this is a tow missile? No. That's not what a tow missile is. We'll do those later. Anyways, it's gonna pull that 1,750 pound rope of C4 through the air and it's gonna land in a semi-straight-ish line. Once it lands, they're gonna detonate it and it is going to clear a path that is approximately 10 feet wide in the length of a football field through literally fucking anything. Yeah, it's designed to clear a path through a minefield, but I've seen them literally blow a forest out of the way. They say you're supposed to take the path of least resistance, but what they don't say is if you're buddies with the combat engineers, they will make you one for free. Now, what we're looking at here is a trailer version, but the Freedom umbilical cord is also capable of being launched from the Marine Corps' amphibious assault vehicle, the AAV, as well as the ABV, the assault breacher vehicle. And then if you want to get really crazy, there is a portable man backpack version. Your injuries are not service related. But it is kind of cool because, hey, you're basically fucking Boba Fett. I'm going to show you what this looks like in real time, but before I can do that, I have to say this was done on a safe range in a training environment by professionals, and no one was hurt, and I'd like to reiterate, this is not a weapon, it is a life-saving device. Now let's blow some shit up.
Rocket! Rocket!
Okay, now that the educational portion is done, the shit talking can commence. Look, this thing's basically the CVS receipt of doom. 1,750 pounds of C4 in a single shot. It's no wonder America's the biggest buyer of explosives on the planet. And you know who the second biggest buyer of explosives is? Fucking Disneyland. So America's taken first and second place. I'm not even making that shit up, you can Google it. So the next time you talk about the House of Mouse, you better have some respect. Look, it's important to realize that it's the combat engineers that use this thing, okay? There's a mathematical formula to calculate how much C4 you need to blow something up, and you know what every single engineer on the face of the earth will tell you that it is? P for plenty. They know it. They're just going to use more than they need. Look, what I'm trying to tell you is, yes, this is technically not a weapon, but every combat engineer that's ever been remotely near one is begging for you to fuck with them. All that guy wants is an excuse. And then we get to my favorite fun fact on the Miclick, because it is obviously military grade, meaning that that part on the trailer that's supposed to stop the rope, sometimes that just fucking breaks off and the whole rope just goes... And in such an event, I shit you not, it is protocol to just shoot at it until it blows up. And then if and when that fails, they play a little game called Rock, Paper, Rank, and whoever loses has to go figure that shit out. In conclusion, it would behoove you to stay out of a combat engineer's way, or he just might break out 1,750 pounds of not so silly string. Best way to support